Welcome back. It's multi-bet time, but remember the odds is brought to you by betting, and remember betting pays all your deposit fees so that you can focus on your play. So do yourself a favor and head over to their website to check them out. Well, now I'm going to start with Onesimus, the champion of last weekend. Onesimus, Principal, what do you have in store for us?
I think this week I'm not just improving on the winning, I'm improving on the odds.
On the odds?
Because I feel they are quite big odds coming from different games that are top tier, and they might even be in the jackpots. So please watch this space.
All right,
because
all right.
I started
Pay attention.
with the game between Frankfurt and Dortmund, and for that game you just have to feel that Dortmund have what it takes to get these big games. And the way they have been doing it is very interesting, because at times they have just gone out there, scored one goal, and sat the game out and see it off, which is so much unlike them. Last week they were leading 1-0 at halftime, but then the second half they decided why not, and they enjoyed themselves. I think it was 5-0 or something. Then you have Portsmouth playing against Doncaster. Portsmouth are in the at the front. They are eyeing that championship direct promotion spot.
The top spot, eh?
Yeah, and they have been doing really well. And over 2.5 gives you an odd of 2. Doncaster have really been struggling in the mid-tables, and they have goals in them. So an over 2.5 is a very solid bet. Then you have Millwall playing Rotterdam. To be honest, Millwall have really been good. They were buoyed by that win against Everton. In the league, they have really been showing off against the big boys. In those big matches, they have always won. And it's the small matches that have been undoing them. But you just have to feel them. They have the confidence to win against a very poor Rotterdam team this season. And with the odds of 1.72, I feel it's a good bet ya kuwekelea pesa. Then Leeds play Norwich. When Leeds traveled to Norwich, the game ended 0-3. And from that point...
To Leeds?
To Norwich.
To Norwich?
Yeah, the first game, the first leg of the championship. They won 3-0 away from home. Now they are playing at home. They are they are on top of the league. Middlesbrough will be playing the fourth team in that league. So you just have to feel that this is a 6-point kind of game. And it's the kind of game that we know their coach won't give away. So a direct win for them is an almost sure bet.
Steve, I saw that you were jotting down something. Were you jotting down the odds, or were you looking to criticize this multiple?
I was looking to criticize, and with much alacrity and worried, as you can see on my countenance.
All right.
The stretches have been forming on my face. Frankfurt versus Dortmund is my first query and my first complaint. Frankfurt are the best team in Bundesliga after Bayern Munich and Dortmund in terms of form and in terms of goals scored. They have, out of the top 5 scorers in the Bundesliga, 2 are from Frankfurt. Luka Jovic with 13 goals, already being linked with Real Madrid, and Sebastian Haller, the Frenchman, with 11 goals. They score goals at home and away. In the Europa League, they were in the toughest group, the group of death, and remember them beating Marseille 4-0. So this Frankfurt team is not a team that you go to their house.
The Frankfurt of the first... let me just correct you before you go any far and mislead people here. They were very good in the first leg. Since the start of the second leg, they have really been poor. They were almost second. They were almost fourth. Now they are almost 7th. They've really been poor. They've dropped post the winter break.
Yeah, the new year.
But technically, we just started the second half of the season 3 games ago. You cannot put a blanket proclamation and say this team has been poor, because they started their games on January 19th.
But
that was 11 days ago.
But just a while back you said you're only as good as your last game.
Yes.
So going by that argument,
yes,
Frankfurt are not in good form.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
But what I can say without fear of contradiction is that their arena has been a fortress this season, whether in the first half of the season or in the second half of their season.
Steve, same thing to Leipzig. They had not lost before they faced Dortmund. This Dortmund of this season is a team that doesn't care where they're playing.
Yes, that's why they went and lost to Fortuna Düsseldorf at home.
First leg, I'm talking about the second leg.
My point is
okay,
simple. My point is simple. Let's stop talking about the second leg as if it's 3 months. Let's remember, these teams have resumed the second leg 11 days ago.
And
Alright.
played 3 matches.
Yes.
This will be the 4th one, right?
Yes. And some teams take time to accelerate.
They are
And
still
what I'm
taking
what I'm
time.
saying what I'm saying is they have so much attacking talent. They're
Yes, they do.
at home.
Uh-huh.
They have the support. It is not a sure bet that Dortmund will come and get points at Frankfurt. In
And
fact,
it's also not a
for
sure
me-
bet. If
And that's
Frankfurt will disappoint Dortmund.
the odd.
Yes.
The odd is at 2.22,
Yeah.
which is a very formidable big odd for Dortmund.
And even
you have
rather,
to question
and
that,
even-
that those odds 2.22.
2.2.
You have to question it.
I'd even rather put an X2, which I think would safeguard the possibility of a bet.
All right,
Though I am
let's
sure
go to-
also an X2 might be, because Frankfurt still have a realistic shot for that. They were looking shaky, and ever since the infamous Spygate incident, I think it affected the mentality at Leeds, and perhaps they have been painted too much as villains, and even the coaching staff and Bielsa. They're going to face a Norwich side that is also at par with them, almost at par with them with points, almost at par with them with goals. The differences of the two teams are the playing styles. And Norwich have already beaten Leeds this season. So for me to put Leeds Kichwa is a sizable risk. Despite the fact that Leeds are very formidable at home, it's still a sizable risk because they will struggle in this game to go past Norwich.
All right. Onesimus, don't reply.
I'll just say 13 odds.
13. The
Those are
number is
13
13.
odds, yes.
Oh, all right.
Which won't matter if you lose.
And it will matter a lot when it comes to rent when you win. Because you
1,000. You
will.
put 1,000 there. The odds of 13.
Yeah.
1,000 or even 2,000. Or better yet 10,000.
Then
And
they-
make good money.
Then they'll all go.
No.
No.
When you win, because you win, you'll be a very happy person.
Let's look for each other at the end of this season.
All right. Well, we'll look for you on Sunday.
It's actually Saturday. All games have been played
So
tomorrow.
on Sunday,
before,
when you have that
before
money,
10.
we
Before
look-
10.
Manchester City versus Arsenal.
Before
Bids
10.
on you.
Yeah, tomorrow before 10.
All right. Let's go to Steve's multi-bet. Steve, take us through yours.
I started with a game that's being played tonight between LOSC Lille and Nice. These are two teams that are I think Nice is the antidote to Lille, which is, or rather the kryptonite to Lille, because Lille has been scoring goals left, right, and center. But Nice do not concede against anyone. In fact, they once went on a streak of 3 consecutive nil-nils just a few games ago. So I don't think Nice will be open as such to losing. If Lille win, they'll win by maybe a 1-0 or a 2-0 margin. Nice have been struggling to score goals. But instead of risking and putting a direct Lille win, I think an under 2.5 for me is a more pertinent bet. Inter facing Bologna. Inter Milan have been poor in the last 2 games. 3 games actually, they've not won. But the truth of the matter is, if there is any team as an Inter coach you would want to play, it's Bologna. They have been horrible. They were beaten 4-0 by Frosinone, and it is embarrassing enough to be beaten 4-0 by Frosinone.
Yes.
They made Yusuf Rahman Chipsa look like Lionel Messi. Anyway, an Inter win for me there. The third game is Tottenham versus Newcastle. This at home is a game which perhaps I feel Tottenham have the grit and the understanding to go through with. Newcastle, I feel, have expended a lot of energy in midweek against Manchester City, and to play one game like that in a week is enough. I feel to put in another performance like that against a top team might not really be good for them. They might not be able to manage the same levels of physicality, the same levels of aggressiveness, if they can't come back from down the same way they did against City. So I think a Tottenham win would be pertinent there. Then finally, Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. This is a game that for the last few seasons has either produced an over 3.5 or even sometimes an over 4.5. So for me, I think an over 2.5 is almost like a nailed on deduction in this game.
All right, your reaction, Onesimus?
You just have to look at the Lille versus Nice game. It's not as easy as it looks because Lille have really been special this season. I think they're second in the league.
Yes.
And they have been playing some interesting stuff, just reminiscent of the times when they had Hazard and his
Kalou.
Yeah. They are really good. So an early goal might really, do we say, undo that bet. But then you can't go beyond the Tottenham and Newcastle. We have seen Tottenham really struggle in the absence of the formidable four. They only have one back. And against Watford, they really struggled. You just have to feel that Newcastle have the manpower and the experience in their coach to see off such games.
All right.